back to These Hands Draw. We're going to be just sketching out some eyes in ballpoint pen today. Oh, this isn't rolling. There we go. And I've been drawing a lot in ballpoint pen recently, just because it's kind of just been near and easy to draw with. And I just have some scraps of paper lying around sometimes. And I've been really, really digging it. Like, it feels, I don't think I'm not a big ink person. I'm not really good at drawing with ink, but I think the ballpoint pen kind of acts like a pencil because you can do light and harsh lines with it throughout your drawing. So I'm really feeling it when I draw. It feels just like a normal pencil, but obviously with the smoothness of the line, as like your pen actually flows through the image, is really nice. Just getting the basic construction down of the eye here. I'm going to just think about like hard and soft edges as I continue this, but for now we'll just get the basic eye shape and kind of any shapes of shadows that we see throughout, keeping it loose as we draw. We've got the inner eye here, iris and the pupil will all be around here. Get the bags of the eyes underneath, always very important, and tell a lot about the eye that we're looking at. Alright, now we can start thinking about maybe what we're thinking about. Let's try separate where we're going to put the lights and darks, or should I just maybe focus on one point? Maybe I'll just focus on a point and see if we can just complete this drawing a bit more, because we just have a sketch down, like a pretty simple sketch to work with, but that's nice to work over. So we'll just get something in that's a bit more concrete, and then maybe we can play around. I might not draw too much here, as I want to keep this a soft edge, so I'm not going to put in too much definition there. And yeah, where are we going here? Getting the tear ducts. And just, I don't think I need to define too much actually more. I just need to start, I think, throwing in those lights and shadows and form shapes. Now as I go to put in these lights and shadows, I'm going to kind of wrap around with the form. I need to make a decision, like say with the eye bags here, do I draw this way, or do I go, do I go the lengthways of the eye bags, or do I go kind of the widthways like this? And both ways are totally valid, but it just depends what I want to say. I can probably do a bit of both as I continue in this drawing anyway. But I want to keep my drawing fairly loose, even though I'm drawing with pen, which is a fairly permanent thing. I'm not going to be erasing anytime soon with this. But I still want to be thinking loose, I think, throughout the whole drawing. Maybe I'll just get an idea of where that eyeball is, or what's it called? The iris and the pupil and whatnot. And just remember that when you're drawing the eye, the whites of the eyes are not pure white. They have shadow to them as well. Like the eye is just a big sphere. So don't ever leave that pure white. Maybe the most pure white might be the highlight in that pupil that you see. And even then, that like really just looks pure white because of what's surrounding it. You got this like quite dark colour surrounding it completely, so it looks very, very dark. But a lot of times when you're painting, you can make that, like a kind of a light blue nearly, or a light grey, instead of a pure white. It will still kind of show the same thing, especially if you're working on kind of a low value painting throughout. I'm just feeling out my way through this drawing as I go. Again, just any light or shadow I put in, I'm going to try and go with the forms that I'm seeing. There's a reason, every time in the way I move my pen around the page. It's not just stippling or whatnot. We want to represent what we see a lot more, give some gesture to everything. This pen actually might be a bit old because it's not going super dark. We can still work with it though. And I'm not going to be like super duper concerned about getting this amazingly accurate to the um to the reference I'm doing. Like, it's just a sketch, so I just need to enjoy myself a bit. And as long as I get a nice convincing eye, then I'm fairly happy. I feel like drawing with a ballpoint pen, I feel like is nearly the same thing as drawing with charcoal sometimes. Something about the mark making and the way you actually put down lights and tone just feels similar. More than a graphite pencil. I don't know why. It's like the looseness you need to draw with that really gets to me. I'm going to put a simple form down for, or value down for the actual pupil and iris of the eye, just to get something down. I'm going to try to do cross hatching as much as I can as well, like this little form here, going around the width of the form instead of the length, to show that it's turning a bit more. I think I need to go a bit darker here now that I've went darker in other places. I found out about your drawing too, that you really don't know your value or what values to put down until you put kind of values in other places too. It's about it's about how everything relates to each other, same in colour and value completely. That's why usually kind of, if you're painting, it's a nice thing to tone your canvas. Because like your palette you work on is not usually white. So when you put something down that you think is quite dark that you mixed on, that you think is quite light that you mixed on your palette, but if you put it on this white background, it's always quite stark and kind of hard to understand if you actually put down something dark enough or light enough. So maybe a mid-tone is always kind of nice to use. And I've seen people who also, actually do tone their palettes as well, which is a nice thing to do. I've seen grey palettes, like made kind of mid-tone greys. I suppose a good idea to tone it kind of similar to the ground you usually work on anyway. I don't want to do all this iris the same value. I kind of want the top of it a bit darker, as you have the top of the eyelid kind of shading it. So I need to represent that just a little bit. And I can push my lights and darks everywhere else too. And then how do we want to approach the bottom eyelid? Just it's quite a soft edge altogether throughout everything you see, so I don't want to do too much with it. Just give an indication that there's maybe like a little ridge before it starts turning into the eye bag here, or the bags of the eye. Okay, I think I'm nearly done with this eye. I might do just one more, just to have something down. Just to try on something else. Again, with the eyebrows, you're not actually drawing each individual hair. You're kind of drawing the idea of what you see, and just more value more than anything. I think I should actually make this a bit darker. There we go. And then under here as well needs to be a bit darker before we continue on. Yeah, I think we're happy enough with this one. Yeah. We'll continue with another eye. I'll work over here and I'll get a new reference image up for myself. Yeah, that works for me. Again, just gonna Getting something to work off, a nice sphere to work off of here. Get the idea of the whole eye socket. And draw everything else. Do a loose sketch of everything else. I want to keep it quite gestural throughout this. I think if you do, I think ballpoint pen just looks so nice. So much movement in it because of just all the marks you need to make. And it's not that I'm trying to be super accurate with each mark. I'm just trying to get a sense of everything. There's abstraction in your lines, Even though we strive for realism here, it's abstraction that I want. From far away, I want it to look like something, but the more you inspect, the more, the more you're kind of just looking at quality of line or your paint or whatever. How that's put down, that's always so interesting to me. I think I'm feeling pretty good with the design and construction of this eye so far. Let me see. Got everything I need, just maybe I'll just put myself an idea for where that eyebrow is going to be. A bit of an older eye here, a lot more to work with. It's always fun. Right, let's start putting in some ideas. I probably shouldn't. I usually kind of always work with my dark areas a bit more. That's why I can never really get into... Well, I should probably still try watercolour, but I don't like the idea of working light to dark. It just throws me off for some reason. I'm sure if I really tried, I could just work dark to light. But that's for another day. Another time where I start to explore a new medium again. You go through phases in your art learning where you just spend a lot of time learning mediums, or you stick for a woman for a long time because you're learning maybe not a medium but a skill, like a certain an idea, like say if you really want to concentrate on values, you're probably going to stick to using one medium for a while, or perspective, proportion. You don't want to be throwing yourself off learning a new medium. Or you might have a phase where you're not really trying to learn and improve, you just want to do some pieces for yourself. And these are all very important stages of learning and developing as an artist. If you stick to one, I think you usually end up hating it after a while. Anyways, I go through times where I never sketch in a sketchbook, I'm in a time right now where I'm sketching nearly every day. But a lot of times where I'm really just doing pieces. Trying my best to do a lot of pieces. Or working on just paintings. Yeah, it's all valid, it's all just a different type of learning. A lot of times, sometimes I don't do a lot at all, maybe I'm not in my, just a different time of life and I'm not doing a lot of drawing and painting, but still it's still with me. So maybe I'll just spend a lot of time looking at other people drawing, or just reading books, or just sometimes just thinking about what you want to be doing can be just as important. You're grabbing ideas for yourself overall. Just being anywhere you are, you can kind of keep looking at the world around you. Just start breaking down the people you see in your life, or not breaking down as in hurting them or anything, but so you see a face on the bus or walking through town, and you start thinking about how to construct that, what you're actually seeing, where the darkest value is, where the form is, where's the gesture line. It's constantly around you. Maybe you're out in the countryside, or just maybe cityscapes really sing to you. So you're kind of analysing how you'd approach a subject. It's always good to do, always keep it in your mind. The drawing starts in your eyes and what you're trying to see. You don't learn You're not like, as much as like it's nice to learn a new tool, like a new medium. It's not the main thing. What makes a good artist? What makes a good artist is just being able to see. That's what you learn throughout, like, it's like what we're actually trying to learn, is to being able to see better. Because it's like the world's quite beautiful that way. I think it's a really wonderful thing, what we get to see as artists. You don't even have to try to like develop a style. You go in and draw. You draw like how you learn. You don't have to copy. Like you say, even if you copy masters or whatever, you might learn something from them. But all this learning something from them will help you in the way that you draw. It will slowly develop into what you draw, because you'll take a little bit from everything you see and everything you learn, and the time it took you to learn, and the way and the development of yourself that it will show in each decision making you make on your drawing or your painting or whatever surface you're working on. You really don't even have to try. It will always sing through. You can always look at someone, and someone will always look at your drawing and be like, oh, I can tell that's your drawing because of this. Just because, I don't know, you can look at it and be like, that's just the way you work. That's what people like see. They see you in a drawing. Your decision making is what makes you, and it's what makes your art. So if you ever see art that looks like there wasn't a lot of decision making put in it, you might want to question if that's actually art. Knowledge is your real tool when it comes to creating. I don't know if you guys can hear that right now, but that's like my shed squeaking, the roof of it. I think there's a branch on top and it's pushing against it, which I probably need to deal with. Anyway, I think I'm okay with those eyes. Just always good to sketch. Thanks for joining me, everybody.